Resident Evil 8 is basically just a boss gauntlet. The bosses are made up of the House Lords under Mother Miranda. There's 4 of them. Today, we're gonna rank them. This is all 4 lords in Resident Evil 8 ranked. Don't go away. So what's the criteria for this? Well, simply put, it's basically gun to my head, which area would I rather replay? You have the first one, Lady Dimetrescu in the castle. Then the second area is House Benevento, the third area is Moreau, and the final one is Heisenberg. So, without further ado, let's get right into number 4. Number 4, House Benevento. So this should be no surprise. I've seen a few people rank this higher than others, but majority of the time this is ranked low because it's 20 minutes long, people. It's really short, and the final boss fight is basically hide and seek. And personally speaking, I've never once ever been a fan of when games decide to take your weapons away. Like, I was working on upgrades there, you know, like, bro. Now this whole area isn't all just complaints. I do say the baby was a great add-in. A little short, but for, you know, it was pretty good sound design. And the doll herself was arguably my favorite design out of all houses. Unfortunately, that's just not strong enough to make it higher than last. But for what it's worth, House Benevento, the reason why it's last is when I played through New Game Plus, this was the area I dreaded going through because I already knew how to do everything. And yeah, it was definitely the least fun I had in the game. Number 3, House Moreau. This was close, but it falters in some areas for me. First up, let's talk about the good. The setting of the windmill area, pretty cool. I like it. I like the caves. I like his ability. In fact, he's my favorite boss fight of all 4. Although I wish he sort of stayed in the water and it was sort of a water fight, would have been way cooler. I still enjoyed this fight. Also, you get the Magnum in this area, and that was my favorite gun in the game. I used that on New Game Plus Infinite Mode style, so that was pretty fun. But overall, I just can't really put it any higher because it's short. Again, it's probably the second shortest next to Benevento, and also, there's a part where you have to cross the lake sort of way, and you're basically just playing red light, green light. Like, you're pretty much just waiting until the green light shows, oh, I can go now. Once he passes, you can walk on through. And that whole section I just was not a fan of. So that's why it's at number 3. Number 2, House Dimetrescu. Really, you might be surprised because the majority of people I've seen really rank this high, like number 1. For me personally, Lady Dimetrescu herself, Alcina, was the weakest part. Yes, I'm literally saying that live on YouTube at this moment. I was never on the hype train with the trailers for Lady D. I was way more interested in pretty much everything else. I just really never jumped on the 8-foot mommy train that seemingly almost everyone did. And her final boss fight, I wasn't a fan of design of her just turning into this big creature. I would have much rather faced her as herself. But why this is number 2 above everything else is, well, for one, I really like the daughters fight. The mechanic of you have to get some cold from the outside of the castle to the inside to defeat them was a cool mechanic. But let's be honest, the reason why this is number 2 is because it's the castle. And the castle is the best, like, thematic place in the entire game. The castle was the part of the game that most felt like the Resident Evil that we're used to, and overall I have nothing but good things to say about the castle. And my favorite area, I will say, was the rooftop. The rooftop had some of the coolest enemies, and it was my favorite part in the castle. Number 1, House Heisenberg. Ethan Winters had a pretty good time exploring this game. For me personally, this was my favorite area in the game. The downside, I will say straight up right away, is that it can look a little samey. Okay, everything in here just looks like a factory. You know, sometimes I legitimately got lost because the third floor looks like the first floor at some points. But damn, Heisenberg as a character was really damn good. He was my favorite House Lord out of all the four. His voice actor was really freaking good. His final boss fight was literally just, I watched Transformers 5 or whatever. But this is the area you unlock some of my favorite guns in the game. I really like the shotgun you unlock in this area and the machine pistol. Not to mention this has some of my favorite enemies in the game. The Robo Soldiers and the big ass, pretty much dudes from BioShock come in here. And I haven't even mentioned Engine Propeller Head Man, who is arguably one of the most well-designed enemies in recent Resident Evil titles. So even though this area definitely has some flaws, I just can't rank it any lower than number 1 because every time I think about this game, or when I played through originally or on my New Game Plus, the Heisenberg area was something that I was just really excited for.
God, I can't block so much.
So that's it, all House Lords and Resident Evil 8 ranked. What is your rankings? Because everywhere I look, I get different answers. Some people really like the horror aspects in House Benevento and rank it high. The majority of people really like House Dimetrescu for Lady D. And a lot of people sort of differ on Heisenberg and Moreau. So what is your rankings? That's pretty much the only question I have. But for now, I'm on to all Resident Evils ranked, which will be the next video, so stay tuned for that. That is very hype. But for now, I'm your host, Cyberplanet Entertainment, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Peace out.
Yep.
What is up? I know what you're thinking. You're only here for the bonus Easter egg soundtrack I put in at the end of every video. But did you also know I have a donation page under Buy Me a Coffee? Donate whatever you want to my channel and I'll put half that back to an environmental charity. So that's that. Enjoy the music. Peace out.